What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to take a look and a listen to Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul. He's going to be talking a little bit about the stimulus check and inflation. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. And I like to point these things out to you. When we start seeing these different politicians coming out and they're speaking on different things, sometimes politicians will just flat out lie to you. Okay, there's a difference. There's a difference between making a promise and then just flat out lying. President Biden, now, and I've had people push back. Like, I've done a few of these videos where I'm talking about different politicians, and someone in the comments were like, well, President Biden, he lied about this. He lied about the $200 raise for Social Security. Okay, that's a promise. That's a promise that he has not kept yet at this point. Okay, he still has 2.5 more years in office, and he made that promise. Okay, there's a difference between making a promise and just flat out lying. When it comes to making a promise, especially in a situation where you're making a promise, but you need other people to buy into this whatever it is. Okay, you need more cooperation. He can't do it on his own. He can't raise Social Security by $200 on his own. He needs Congress in order to do that. Okay, so, and it's not just him that made that promise. You had Congress people also making that promise. And so it's just like if I was going to do a job, let's say I was going to go to your house and help you move, and I have two of my friends that are going to go with me. So if I have those two friends that are going to go with me, and I make that promise, hey, I'll be there Saturday to help you move. I have my two friends, they'll be coming with me. But those two friends back out at the last minute. And I made that promise. Now I can't help you move because I don't have my two friends that I need to make that happen. And so what I'll have to do is postpone it and then hope that I can get my friends together to come help you move. And let's say it's another day and they don't come by. That's another promise that I broke. Okay. Now I'm not flat out lying to you. I'm trying to get it together, but my friends aren't coming through. And so that's a promise. But when we're talking about a lie, when we're talking about someone that just flat out tells you something that is not true and you can fact check it, and that's what we're going to do with Senator Rand Paul. We're going to fact check the things that he's saying. Those are lies. If you know, I knowingly, what I'm telling you, I know not to be true. That is a lie. So there's a difference. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about financial news and what's going on in Washington, D.C. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so let's go ahead and play the clip. Now, I will interject as we play this clip because there's some things in here that I have to stop the video and talk a little bit about it right after he says it, just so I won't forget things. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here we go.
One of the things that's come out of the pandemic is we spent tons of money. We just spent trillions of dollars and we don't have it. So we had to borrow that money. As we borrowed that money, then the Federal Reserve prints more money, and that money floods into the circulation and it devalues what we have. What does that mean? Higher prices. So when you go to the grocery store and you see the rising prices of vegetables, fruits, everything, and especially meat, it's because we spent too much money. We borrowed too much money. When you go to the gas station, you fill up your car, and it costs almost 50% more than it did the year before. That's because of inflation. Inflation comes from the government borrowing money, the Federal Reserve printing it up, and stealing the value of your dollar. So it's a bait and switch. One political party says, here's free stuff. You can have free stuff. I'll give you a $1,400 check, and it's free.
Okay, so let's stop right there. $1,400 check. Now, what he was saying before that, yeah, you know what? That is true. That is one reason why we're looking at inflation, but there's some other factors as well. And we talked about supply chain shortage. We've talked about that, right? But when it comes down to it, he's talking about the $1,400 stimulus check. Now, first off, let's look at this. Why is he just talking about a $1,400 stimulus check when we received a $1,200 stimulus check, a $600 stimulus check, and then a $1,400 stimulus check? Well, when you start looking at things, the $1,400 stimulus check, guess who passed that? Democrats and President Biden. The $1,200 stimulus check, that was during the Trump administration. The $600 stimulus check, that was during the Trump administration. So President Trump signed off on both of those. President Biden signed off on the $1,400 stimulus check. Let's focus on that one. So that's the first thing, okay? We know party politics are always involved, right? And so what he's trying to say is it's the Democrats' fault that we're looking at inflation, okay? When in reality, you had both Republicans and Democrats spending over the last 2 years. Like I said, the first two stimulus checks, they went through with a Republican administration. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing that he's not talking about the rest of the money. $1,400 stimulus check. And I'm going to get to the whole $1,400 stimulus check free money thing because that's another thing that's irritating. But he's talking about just the $1,400 stimulus check. That's the only reason that we're looking at inflation, because of the $1,400 stimulus check. What about all the other spending that we did? Okay, I have a business. I received an EIDL loan. Free money. You want to talk about free money? That was free money. Yeah, that wasn't a tax credit. That was free money. And so when we start looking at things, there was more money that was going out, more spending that was going out. Airlines, $5 billion one time, and then they went and asked for more. And they got another $5 billion. So we're looking at money that was going out to a lot of different areas, but he focused on one area only, the stimulus checks. He didn't focus on anything that had to do with businesses. He didn't focus on anything that had to do with anything else. It was just the $1,400 stimulus check. That's the reason why we're looking at inflation. That's the reason why the dollar's been devalued. Now let's talk about the $1,400 stimulus check, the free money that he was talking about. Free money? This was a tax cut. I keep reminding people that this was a tax cut, a tax credit. It was not free money. We were all entitled to this tax credit. They advanced it to us early. That's the reason that we received it. That's the only reason that we received it. Now, if you rephrase that whole situation, rephrase that whole question to Senator Rand Paul and say, do you agree with tax cuts? I will guarantee you he'll say yes. But if you ask him, do you agree with stimulus checks? He's going to say no. They're the same thing. And that's what's sad about this whole thing. He's misleading you by saying, oh, yeah, it's free money. The $1,400 is free money. No, it's a tax credit. Just like businesses get tax credits, it's the same thing. Tax credit, tax cut, they're the same thing. That's what a stimulus check is. So it's just, like I'm saying, when politicians, he knows it was a tax credit. But he's not telling you that. He's calling it free money because if you say free money, people look at it and say, oh, free money. Yeah, we shouldn't be giving people free money. And so when we're looking at this whole thing, the vast majority of people, if you want to look at it that way, the vast majority of people were working, paying taxes, and they got a tax cut. And then you had some other people who were on fixed income that got a tax credit, which all they needed to do, some people, it was recommended that you go ahead and file your taxes, because if you don't meet that threshold, you don't have to file your taxes, but you can file your taxes if you make $1, if you make $0, you can still file taxes. And so it's just, I mean, this is the type of stuff when politicians come out and just flat out telling you things that are just not true, and they know it's true. This is a doctor. He's an intelligent individual, but he's purposely misleading you. Okay, let's continue.
Believe me, you don't have to do anything for it. Well, there is a cost. The cost is inflation. That's what we're seeing now. But as we found in the 1970s, when inflation rears its head and gets cooking, inflation can get out of control and it's hard to stop. The only way that Volcker and the Federal Reserve ultimately stopped inflation in the late 70s, early 80s, they let interest rates go to 21%. Imagine what that does to people. If you live in a house right now and you have an adjustable mortgage, how many people could survive 21%? What happens to the national debt? We have a $30 trillion debt and we're paying it at about 2% now. What if it goes to 10%, 15 or 20%? I don't know how we would afford it. Will it squeeze out Social Security? Will it squeeze out Medicare? So we have to resist this notion of something for nothing.
Okay, and you saw that last part, something for nothing. That's the whole narrative here, right? That's the whole thing where it's like, you're getting free money, you're getting something for nothing. I want to talk about one thing that he said at the very end there. He was talking about the inflation going up to 21%, right? That's a lie. He's not being honest with you, and I'll show you. I'll show you right here. So what did I do? I Googled it, like you do everything, like maybe he should have done before he did this speech, and you'll see Freddie Mac data. This is what we're getting this from. Okay. The interest rates reached their highest point in modern history in 1981. Okay, and this is what he was talking about the late 1970s into early 1980s, when the annual average was 16.63%. Okay, and you're saying, well, that's only 5%. 5% is a lot. I mean, our interest rate right now is around what, 2%, probably even lower than that. But the reality is, that's what we were looking at. That's what we were looking at. 16.63%. It's very high, but it's not 21%. And this is according to Freddie Mac. This is Freddie Mac data. And then it says fixed rates declined from there, but they finished the decade around 10%. The 1980s were an expensive time to borrow money. So there it is. Senator Rand Paul again is telling you something that's not true. And if he doesn't have that information, don't put that out there and say 21%. Where'd you get that from? Did you just think of, that sounds like a good number, 21%, let's say that? Or did you do some research to try to find out that information before you misled the public? And so these are the things, this is what I'm talking about. And no one, a lot of people aren't going to fact check that. They're just going to listen to what he's saying and they're going to say, yeah, you know what? Free money. Yeah, stimulus checks were free money. We shouldn't have done stimulus checks. But what about all the other money that was going everywhere? What about all that money? Okay. Now, I agree. When it comes to spending, we had to do a lot of spending. We were in a situation where we shut down the country. And so businesses suffered. The individuals suffered, so we had to do something to stimulate the economy. And when you look at it, most politicians would agree we needed to stimulate the economy because we didn't want to fall into a recession. We avoided that. Now we're looking at inflation. We just need to level things out. That's all we need to do at this point. But like I said, when it comes to politicians just putting stuff out there and just hoping that you don't do the research, that's his whole game. That's the whole reason why he's out there speaking like this. And one more thing that he said before I forget about this, he was talking about gas prices. Okay, so he was talking about the increase when it comes to the percentage increase. Now it doesn't look good, I would agree, but he was saying it was close to 50%, right? So let's take a look at that. And I'm using Y charts here, and this is the U.S. retail gas prices, and he was talking year to year. Okay, so 1 year ago, the change from 1 year ago is 40%, 40.54%. So he's off another, that's 10% that he's off there. So when politicians are coming out and they're giving you this information, they're telling you it's close to 50%, then you look at it and it's more like 40%, which is a lot different than 50%. And then they're giving you other information that, I mean, it's ridiculous when you look at it and you have these politicians just coming out, just flat out lying to you. Or they're not doing the research. So I don't know which one it is, to be honest with you. But I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about what Senator Rand Paul said? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.